Hi guys, welcome back to Dinner with Danny. Today I'm drinking red wine, and if you know me, I don't usually drink red wine. But that's because today we're making, as I promised last episode, tomato sauce from scratch. And in honor of that, I'm wearing my black apron, which I actually got in Italy. I had the pleasure of going on a cruise a few years ago, and we stopped in Italy. They brought us in through Tuscany, through the vineyards, and we stopped at this little place. They taught us how to make pizza from scratch. I got to make a pizza in Tuscany. How cool is that? So I'm going to use my handy dandy KitchenAid, which I bought on the Home Shopping Network, by the way. I'm so silly. But a few years ago, I don't know, I was up late watching TV, flipping the channels, and I saw it. And it was just like really cheap. And this is like a $400 mixer, and I got it for like $150 or something. I'm like, it'd be stupid not to. And I just got the attachment to make sauce. I used to have a hand grinder one, which was pretty cool, but it took a while, and it finally broke because I use it so much. My wonderful friend Nikki gave me that, and I used it to death. But my wonderful husband bought me this new attachment, and it makes it so much faster. I was a little intimidated at first because I've seen pictures of it, you know, on the website and stuff, but I was like, how does that work? This little knob here, you unscrew it a little bit, and the little plate with the logo on it comes right out. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little hole right there, okay? So I'm going to show you how to put this together really quickly. It's pretty simple. You get this little spring action thing here going, and you get your cone here. You want to put the shorter end in here. There's a square hole in here that it will fit into, and you kind of wait for it to, yep, it's in there. Then you put the other end into here, okay? And it's on a spring, so you'll feel a little give there, okay? You get your cone that goes over this, and it's got little notches, so you gotta line up these little notches right here with these little notches here, okay? And again, it's on a spring, so you kind of have to hold it down there for this. And then you're going to put this on, and you screw it on top. I'm going to hold it down with this hand, and try and screw it there. And that keeps that in place. And you just want to hand tighten it. They give you this handy dandy tool to undo it, but they said don't use it to tighten it, just use it to loosen it. So do it by hand. Okay? So then we have our, I don't know what you call it, but this slides over the top, and it catches right on there, so this just sticks out a tiny bit. Okay? And then, you have your little splash shield that fits right here, just sits there. Now I'm going to take this whole thing, and this goes right in there, and we tighten it as tight as you can. And there we go. Again, this is going to move around a little bit, so if it falls off, don't freak out. Now, I'm going to move this so that the juice from the tomatoes comes out here, and all the pulp and the garbage you don't want comes out the end. So I'm going to put this over the sink, my bowl here. Can you see that? So it's kind of like this. The only downside with this is the hole up here that I have to put my tomatoes in is pretty small. It's only like this. So I have all these big, beautiful tomatoes that I got, okay? I'm going to have to probably quarter them so that I can fit them in there. You can pull the little stems off if you want, but I don't think you have to because they're going to get ground and thrown out the end. But I'm a little inattentive like that, so I'll probably do that. So pull those out. Now, when you're cutting these tomatoes, cut them face down. because they're more stable. If you do it this way, they could roll around. See that? And you get your knife on it. And I cut the tip of my finger off years ago when I was cutting peppers. I was like, so I'm really all about how's the safest way to cut stuff. All right. So I grab my big knife. I've already washed these with soap and water, by the way, because we're in a pandemic, and that's what we do now is wash our vegetables with soap. If you told me that 10 years ago, I would have thought you were crazy. All right, so I'm going to quarter this. Beautiful. And I usually, because I'm picky, I'll cut this little part off, because you know it's just not going to go in there. It's going to be ground up and thrown out into the sink anyway. All right. But still, oh wow, that still doesn't fit. I'm going to have to cut these pieces in half. All right, they just about fit, and they're pretty soft, so I can really squish them down. This handy dandy tool they give you is also the pusher that you would use to push down. All right, so I'm going to cut these up, and we'll come back when I'm all done. Look at all these beautiful tomatoes. Wow. All right, I didn't think I had that many. So remember I said about pulling out the stem? Forget about that. Because after cutting all these, which took me like a minute, I'm cutting them in half. And because I have to quarter them, again, flat side down, I cut it here. And because I'm right-handed, I'm going to cut in here this way. And I'm going to flip it around, so I'm still on the right side. I'm not going to try and do that. Okay, here. Now, when I cut this little corner off, there's the stem. Okay, so once again, flat side down. You keep the flat side down, you cut it into it, turn it, cut the flat side down, and then if you have a little stem piece, you can just cut that off, and boom. All right, so now we are ready to start juicing. So hopefully they fit. Some of them are really big. So I'm going to put these in here. Yeah, they're soft. When I first bought this, reading the instructions, every other page, every other sentence was, caution, broken bones, unplug it before doing anything. So now we always joke, broken bones. So now I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to turn it on medium and start squishing these down. Oh, look at that, magic. Dripping out here, and all the gook that we didn't want goes there. Starting to fill the bowl. You can see that. All right, so I'm going to get all these tomatoes in there and see how full this bowl gets. Look at all this sauce. Wow, that was a lot of tomatoes. I should have counted. I probably had over a dozen tomatoes, but whew, I need a drink after that. That took me about 7 minutes with this machine. This is so, it smells so good. It's so just fresh. It's just pure tomato. And usually I try to mix up the tomatoes a little bit. I like to use the plum tomatoes. I feel like they have a good flavor, but I got all these great beefsteak tomatoes, so I just used them. I'm trying not to go to the store unless I really have to. Look at the juice, oh my God, on this cutting board. That's how juicy these tomatoes were. So, if you do not have one of these machines, by the way, and you don't want to go out and buy it, buy a can of crushed tomatoes, not diced or stewed or whatever, crushed tomatoes. It will look just like this. When you pour it out, it's just like a sauce. And I would buy a can of diced tomatoes. Crushed is big, like this. And then the diced tomato, just get a can, like a size of like a soup can. And a lot of times you can get them with oregano and basil and garlic already in it. All right. And then you're going to want a can of paste as well. All right, a small one. And you can start from there instead of doing all this. But if you have this or you're gonna get this, I highly recommend it. Oh, we're gonna clean this lip. So we still have, I'm gonna lift this up, all this, which we could scrape off. Just kind of put that in there. It almost looks like strawberry jam or strawberry sauce. When we were in Italy, the way they made their sauce was basically crushed tomatoes that they did, olive oil, salt and pepper, and I think that was about it. I usually add other stuff. When I first started making sauce, I was like, I'm going to add peppers and onions and red peppers and garlic and wine and vinegar and hot pepper and make it was just a lot. And when I had theirs, which was so simple, I was like, this is amazing. This is like what sauce should taste like. So, I mean, you can zhuzh it up whatever way you want. I was gonna put a little bit of hot pepper in mine to make it look a spicy marinara kind of thing, but this just tastes so good already. I'm just gonna keep it simple, I think. So I've cleaned up my space, and I want to show you this. I still have 2 big tomatoes left over, so I'm just gonna keep those for sandwiches, I think. Nice beefsteak tomatoes. All my pieces I took apart, I just gave them a quick rinse. I think this is the only part that can't go in the dishwasher. The rest of it is going in the dishwasher. And then look at this sauce. This is almost a full. It is almost full. I thought I might need a bigger pot, but let's see. Let's see if this works. Look at that. Oh my God, that looks so good. All right, just made it. All right, I'm going to put this stuff in the dishwasher, and I'll be right back. Okay, so my tomato sauce is in the pot. And I know I said I wasn't going to add a lot to this, but I am going to add onion and garlic along with some spices. So the way I do it, I have this handy dandy little mini food processor. It just barely fits in the palm of my hand. I have a big one, but for this, that's all I need. So first the garlic. Take a big clove of garlic. All right. And like I showed you before, flat side down, a little crush, right? And just pinch the other side, falls right out. Okay? Now, I am going to put it in the food processor, but I'll cut it into a couple smaller pieces. There's a little spot on here I'm going to cut off too. So I might end up with garlic fingers, but hopefully that's minimal. All right. Then the onion. So when you're dealing with onions, here, let me get down here. When you're dealing with onions and you're cutting them, put them in the freezer for about 5 minutes or 10 minutes before you use them. I heard that cuts down on like making you cry. All right. So I always put them in the freezer. This was in the freezer the whole time I was doing my tomatoes, so it's probably frozen solid by now, but I'm going to cut it lengthwise. Okay. Now, like if you wanted onion rings, here, let me do this. Put it back together. If you wanted onion rings, you would cut it this way. But anything else, I always cut it along like this way. Okay. Because then you get a flat surface. All right. You know me and my flat surfaces. Safety first. I cut off the end. Cut off the other end. All right. Then you should be able to peel the skin off pretty easily. And then the first layer too that's kind of rubbery. And then I always kind of take out the middle part, the core, but cut it. The core should just kind of fall out. Yeah. There you go. All right, so now I have these pieces that I'm gonna take apart with my fingers and put them in my little food processor real quick. And I'm just using one small onion. I like to use yellow or white onions when I cook. I like to use red onions for like salads and sandwiches. I don't know why. I just think they're a little more pungent and these are sweeter. But use whatever you want. Or just don't use them at all. You're eating it. All right. do that. I'm gonna use the whole thing just because I got a lot of sauce in the pot. So proportionately, one small onion isn't going to be a big deal. All right. I like to separate them, get everybody evenly, and then to loosen up a little extra virgin olive oil, just a little bit in there. I love this handy dandy little thing for stuff like this. I'm gonna now we have almost like a paste. Very so I'm gonna put this now in my sauce, and it'll kind of dissolve. Okay, so now we have our garlic and onion mixture in our pot, and here's where I use my wooden spoon, just because I feel like it's authentic Italian. I don't know, like all the old Italian ladies use a wooden spoon, right? I'm gonna mix that in. Oh, it's beautiful. I haven't even turned the heat on yet because I'm gonna put it on the small burner in the back and let it simmer really low for a really long time. This is a really big burner, but I needed it in the front for you guys. All right, we're gonna add a little olive oil to our sauce. Just maybe one little drizzle around. I always use a little adobo. If you read the ingredients, I think it's mostly garlic powder and onion powder. So do a little bit of that. And notice I have all my spices ready to go. They're already open, so I don't have to fiddle with them. I got some Italian seasoning. And I usually just do oregano, but I took a quick look at this. And the ingredients in there were like oregano, basil, garlic, marjoram, and sage, which I don't have marjoram and sage. So then I'll do some regular oregano. Ooh, where is it? There it is. All right. I love oregano in my sauce. Love, love, love oregano. Okay. And then just for some fresh greenness, parsley. Ooh, where'd it go? Parsley. All right. And you can see that's even greener than the rest of them. All right. Just as much as, you know. And you can just start with a little bit, and then after a while taste it, and then add more. You know, do a little, taste a little, do a little, taste a little. All right, a little salt and pepper. I'm going to give this a stir. Okay. Yeah, you want that nice fresh green taste. What's this? That is a big old piece of garlic, which I'm going to get rid of. All right, so I got my oregano, my Italian seasoning, some olive oil, adobo, parsley. The next thing I got to do is put some paste in. This is going to help thicken it. Okay, and then once I get this open and in there, we are going to cut some of my fresh basil and add that. Okay, so I opened my paste. We're going to put that in there, and usually I might just use half of this, but this is so much sauce. I swear I cook enough for an army. But the great thing is you freeze half of it, or you can freeze it in like 3 different portions, and then when there's a pandemic and you can't go to the store, you still have sauce. All right. Our sauce, because it's a little watery, because it's just fresh tomatoes and some onions, garlic, and spices. So when I did my paste, this is a little magic tool. I love my gadgets, okay? So I got one of these can openers that you do it this way, and it makes it so there's no sharp edges at all. Love that. I got that from my friend Nikki one year for Christmas. Thank you, Nikki. All right, now we're going to attack this guy. I'm just going to pick off a few of these leaves and cut them up a little bit and put them in there kind of loosely. All right. Okay, so I got my special little shears because I'm fancy like that. I'm just going to cut a few of these off. And do this. Again, if you saw my pesto episode, I'm not going to cut it with the stem. I'm going to cut it up here because the stems are going to make it bitter. All right? So we're not cutting like that. Okay? And I don't want to overpower with basil because fresh basil is really potent. Okay, so I got my basil cut up. So what I'm going to do to cut this into little slivers is put a few on top of each other. They're about the same size. Okay? I'm going to fold them in half. Take my knife and run through it. Make really thin strips. Actually, you know what? Fold it in half twice. Alright? Make it easier. Little thin strips. Watch your fingers at the end. Alright. Now I have all my basil, and it looks like a lot, and oh my god, if you smell this, it's amazing. So I'm going to put half of this in there because it's really potent. And let me show you how that looks. So we got our nice fresh cut basil in there. And yeah, it kind of looks like a lot, but again, this is proportionately, this is a big, deep pot of sauce. So I'm just gonna give it a stir and see what it looks like. And you know what? I'm feeling crazy today, so I'm gonna put the rest in there. Ha ha ha. Yeah, fresh basil, so much better. Don't get basil like in a shaker, like in one of these fresh basil. Buy one of those pots in the store. Just have it in your kitchen window. They're so easy to take care of it. If I didn't kill it, you won't. And then you use it for pesto, use it for sauce. Oh my god. Because I'm feeling crazy, we're going to put a little red wine in there. Somebody gave me this red wine as a gift. I don't really drink red wine, but just a little bit. Right. And then my secret ingredient for a little zing, just a little bit of red wine vinegar. Just a splash. Alright, and I think we're good, and we're going to let it sit for a while, and then when it heats up and all these flavors coagulate, you start to smell it from across the room. Come over, give it a taste, and see what it needs. Alright, so I'm going to now move this to the back burner, because that's the smallest burner I have. I'm going to put it really low. Oh, yeah. Alright, and we're just going to let that sit. I'm not going to cover it yet. I know, like the old Italian ladies like to let their sauce sit for about 6 hours. Okay, so we're gonna let that sit. I'm gonna have a little glass of wine because this is dinner with Danny, baby. We'll check back in a bit. Hey guys, welcome back to Dinner with Danny. It's been about 7 hours since I put that on the stove. Literally, this sauce has been cooking for about 7 hours. So I'm gonna taste it and let you know what I think and let you know what it needs. Okay. My little wooden spoon. I tasted it a little earlier and it needs some salt, so I added some salt. And still, believe it or not, with all this stuff, the onions, the garlic, the oregano, the adobo, salt, pepper, parsley, wine, vinegar, still didn't have a lot of flavor. It was kind of weird. So I'm hoping after all this time, yeah, the longer it cooks, the better it tastes. I think it still needs something. I can't really figure out what it needs, so I'm going to put some more adobo. Just give that some flavor. A little more oregano. Again, I just eyeball everything.
some parsley, just because that adds a little freshness. And I think a little bit of salt. Salt helps brings out the flavor in things. All right, we don't want a real salty sauce, but it does help to waken up the flavors and other stuff. So that's what I'm hoping for. We'll stir around. So this has been simmering on a very, very low heat for about 7 hours. Like I said, I went and made dinner and had a few glasses of wine. And I actually just edited my first video and posted it online. So hopefully you already watched that. And I'm going to try this again. Already better. Yeah, salt. Needed salt. Salt helps bring out the flavors. So what I'm going to do is put this on the small ring and let's see if we can do that. Cover it. And I'm going to put this on very low. And I'm going to leave it there all night long. Of course, it's almost 1 in the morning, so I will check on it in the morning and let you guys know how it tastes. All right, well, I'll see you in the morning. I'm exhausted. And thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this recipe. Again, if you don't have the KitchenAid and the grinder and all that good stuff, just open up a can of crushed tomatoes, open up a can of diced tomatoes that comes with garlic and oregano and basil in it, and then open up a can of paste. And that's what you start with. I actually don't have diced tomatoes in there. I didn't have a can, so maybe that's why it's a little less than perfect for me. Good night. Hey guys, my sauce has been cooking all night long. I did take a little taste of it a little while ago, but I'm going to taste it now and let you guys know what I think. All right. I did cover it overnight, and it's been very low heat on the smallest burner possible. So let me give it a taste. It smells good. Yeah. Ah. It needs something. I think it needs a little more salt. I know, I feel like I put a lot of salt in this, but salt brings out the flavor in it. So a little pepper. I'm going to add a little more adobo, get that flavor going, and a little more oregano. Like I said, I do a little, taste it, see what it needs, do a little more, taste it, see what it needs, and that's how you figure things out. You know, I'm not like one of those cooking shows where it comes out perfect every time, the first time. Like, we're figuring things out together. All right. So look at that though. See if it made a difference. So basil in there. Yeah. Just need a little more salt. That totally made a difference. So, hi guys. So just an update about sauce. I was feeling like it was good, but it wasn't, oh my God, this is so good. So I let it sit, and I was thinking, there was a lot of tomatoes there, and it was kind of watery because it was so juicy. So I thought maybe I need another can of paste to make it thicker, because usually I don't make a batch that big. I just use one little can of paste. So I went looking for another can of paste in the cabinet. Found that, thank God. But I also found a can of diced tomatoes, like I told you guys to get. Diced tomatoes with garlic, basil, and oregano. So put that in there. That's good because it gives some chunkiness to it, you know. So I wanted to show you how it looks now. It's so much thicker. It's like nice and thick. That's how it should be. So now it's like Oh my God, it's so good. It really is. I had some tonight. So I think next time we're going to have to either make meatballs to go with it, or we'll make chicken cacciatore, or both. We have enough sauce for everything. All right. I would let this cool and then divide it into like 3 different Tupperware containers, and you can freeze 2 of them and just use it for different recipes now. All right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.